All right, I've got a large Cult of Athena box right here that I'm going to open. You know, it's a little ironic in a way. On the one hand, I have a pretty long to-do list for, you know, blade tests and video reviews and stuff. On the other hand, I often go, well, better invest into some more stuff so that I don't run out of things to review on the channel. So sometimes that gets a little ironic, but you know, better too much than too little, I suppose. Either way, so here's a bunch of things that I ordered specifically for reviews. You know it's a Cult of Athena box when you're suffocating in brown paper. But that's okay. So I think I've got the first thing right here. There's a scabbard, or well, a sheath actually. In case you're wondering, the difference between sheath and scabbard usually is a sheath is soft like this, whereas a scabbard has a hard core. It's hardcore. No, it can be either wood or steel or something. So it's firm. Oh yeah. So looks like the first thing I grabbed is the freebie that was thrown in. Oh, thank you very much, Ryan. I definitely appreciate that. So this is made by Devil's Edge, just like the Xiphos. So there's a coppice, which is pretty cool. It's definitely one of the most interesting blade shapes from antiquity. And that must also be, yep, that's definitely the sheath for this one. Oh yeah, there we go. So this is going to be very interesting because the Xiphos is very thin and light. And you know that I ran into some issues with the blade bending on the Xiphos. With this one, there's no way that's going to happen. I mean, I guess under extreme impact it could still bend, but I mean, look at how thick the spine is. That is pretty thick. So I'm not worried about that. This should be very, very sturdy. And I like the overall shape. That is really interesting. Let's see if it's... Yeah, I think the edge is just as sharp as on the Xiphos, which is excellent. So, oh yeah, this is gonna cut like a mofo. I can already tell that. It's has a lot of heft to it, nice and sharp. Oh yeah, me likey. First impression is very good. This is going to be interesting. You will unfortunately have to be patient because I can only get out and do tests every now and then. So it may take a while, meaning a couple of months. So I'll try to get it done as soon as possible, but don't get your hopes up too high. And then, what could this possibly be? Yeah, obviously an axe. So this one here, I don't actually know which maker that is. It doesn't say, but I just picked this up because it's cheap and I wanted to. Basically, lately I have been focusing more on more expensive stuff because, well, my standards are fairly high. So I generally am more interested in the higher end stuff because it's just that much better in general. But then I've realized that I should dial it back down and do some more reviews in more affordable price ranges because that's more relevant for most of you. And this is a very cheap axe. I think, since I ordered a bunch of things, I don't remember exactly. I think this was either $25 or $30. And that's really damn cheap. And you know, it's a fairly rough finish. I mean, if you want to even call that finish, it's pretty much, you know, left blackened from the forge. I can already tell the edge is garbage. I mean, most axes don't have very good edges, or at least the more affordable ones. You know. Yeah, typical problem. This would require a lot of grinding to get a halfway decent edge. However, the axe blade itself, or head, is actually pretty decent. I like that it's not overly thick like some, and it's pretty well shaped. Bearded axes are quite nice in general. And the handle, it's got this kind of teardrop shape, which personally I'm not a huge fan of. I actually prefer if it's more oval rather than teardrop. But, you know, it's better than round. What I really hate is axes with round handles, because then the edge alignment goes to hell. But yeah, this is actually quite nice. It's a pretty light axe. So this would actually make for a good fighting axe if it was not as ludicrously blunt. But otherwise, yeah, I think this is probably going to be good. Even if in the test, even if the handle breaks, not a big deal. Rehafting an axe is not a problem generally. Oh yeah, there we go. I think I'll save these two for last. And yeah, this is... I'm gradually filling up the room with brown paper. Okay. So this one is made by Traditional Filipino Weapons, and this thing I've been eyeballing for years. I think I've been wanting this since 2009 or so, or 10, and finally I picked it up. So that's the Abbas, or however you pronounce that. Really interesting weapon. I very much like this recurve shape here. It's a bit reminiscent of a yatagan, which, or again, however you pronounce that, I don't know. But yeah, I very much like this kind of shape, and it should slice very well. Speaking of which, the edge, oh yeah, very sharp, nice and sharp. That's good. So this is actually lighter than I would have expected. I would have guessed that it is relatively hefty, but this is incredibly light actually. This is super easy to wield with one hand. In fact, almost 2 fingers. This is extremely light. Let's see what the balance is like. Pretty close to the guard, I mean, due to the long handle. The long handle actually feels very light. Tapers pretty strongly. Huh. That's interesting. Like, my first impression, gut reaction, I want to say it feels too light. I actually want to say that it might be better if it was a little heavier, because it does not feel like you can generate a whole lot of power with it. But it should still cut pretty well, at least a slicing cut. But we shall see about that when I get around to it. But it's beautiful, at least in my opinion. To some of you it may seem a little bizarre. It's definitely an unusual shape from Western eyes, but well, that's interesting. There's actually an edge down here as well. I'm not sure how you would use that. That's not something that normally comes into play in a fight, unless you're doing, you know, slicing, push or pull cuts. But yeah, pretty neat. And the scabbard also looks quite nice. Even it actually has a belt clip right there, which is nice. So yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to that. And then, yeah, those are the last two. So people have been I'll just unwrap this first and then I'll continue talking, because this is loud. You can already tell what that is, of course. So people have been asking me for a more affordable Kriegsmesser, or war knife, as it's called in German. Well, obviously, Kriegsmesser is German and war knife would be the English translation, but you get it. So, since I haven't really seen many, obviously the Albion Knecht is super high-end and very few people can afford that. But, so I wanted to get some that are a little more affordable. So this one here is made by Niello Swords. Obviously, it's got a straight blade rather than curved, but the handle is fairly similar to the one I have, and it's got the extra bar here, and the guard generally looks quite nice. So let me see here. First impression is quite good. Like, the handling is really nice. Seems a bit more forward weighted than the Knecht. Yeah, I think so. Let's see, what's the edge like? Well, it is my typical reaction. Too many edges. Yeah, it is. I mean, it feels reasonably sharp when you run your thumb over it, but I don't like the edge geometry because it's basically straight and then it's got this really steep angle right at the end. So this is not great for cutting, but oh well, I'll see, I'll give it a try. But the overall shape is really neat. And so this is, you know, more mid-range, you could say. You know, budget to mid-range. As I said, handling is really good. So I'm going to compare that to this one here, which is also a messer. This may shock some people. Come on. So, yeah, it's a cold steel. I've been looking around. Wow, that's on there firmly. How nice. I may have to get a mallet to get that off. Let me try it with the knife. Who the hell put that on? There we go. Wow. So, yeah, I've been looking around and I've seen some very negative reviews of the cold steel messer. The standard model, if you will. This here is the Men-at-Arms version, which is... Why do you forsake me, camera? What the hell? I just swapped the batteries. That was a fresh... I guess I've been using those for too long. They're starting to degrade. All right, let's see how long that one lasts. So, like I was saying, this is the Man-at-Arms version, which is different from the other cold steel messer. They are differently assembled even. I don't know if you can see that from there, but it's got a nut here that's securing the pommel, whereas the other one, the entire pommel is threaded onto it, and it's also somewhat differently shaped. And with the standard messer, there are plenty of problems with the guard coming loose. In fact, Kult of Athena has a note in the description of that one saying that the loose guard on the cold steel messer is so common that they can't even do returns anymore. Like, they were trying to sort out the bad ones, but the majority is bad. So they're basically saying you have to live with the fact that the guard is loose. On this one, that doesn't seem to be the case. So that's definitely better. However, I'm not a fan of how it's shaped overall, I have to say. I mean, there is quite a bit of price difference between these two, so I have to keep that in mind. But the guard on this one here is about as simple as it gets. Just a very simple bar, and the grip is so large. I mean, I guess it's designed for fairly large hands. I'm probably at this point used to the groove in the center that both the Albion and the Niello one have, which makes it feel that much more comfortable. But, oh well. I don't want to nitpick too much already. So, handling actually seems pretty decent. Oh wait. Do you hear that? It already sounds like that out of the box. I haven't taken a single swing with it and already sounds like this. That's not a good sign. Something's shifting there. Anyway, so what I was saying is the handling actually seems pretty decent. Kind of dull-ish. Not amazing. But, oh well. As said, this is going to be the cheapest option. So, I'll test it and see if it's worth it. And I'll compare it, as said, directly to this one. Because these were really the only options I've found that seem interesting in the sense of probably decent quality. We'll see about that. Here's the sheath. And yeah, we shall find out how that goes. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. Anyway, before this gets even ramblier, this is already way too long. I'll leave it at that, so thanks for watching.